Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Spiritual Marketing Club chat. So, today we have two lovely ladies from the Wellbeing Umbrella, Ursula and Alexis. And today they're going to share a little bit about their own story and why they created the Wellbeing Umbrella. And I'm going to just share a little bit about the Wellbeing Umbrella first. So, the Wellbeing Umbrella connects people to a world full of choice and variety through our wellbeing platform, wellness events, and collaboration. We support the small wellbeing business community to work together to increase the awareness of the varied wellbeing treatments and solutions on offer, whilst raising funds for those less able to access them. Now, I am on the Wellbeing Umbrella platform. And I'm also been a member of their group, and it's an amazing group. It's all about really working together and supporting together. And I think it's such an important thing for us all to work more like that. I'm going to pass it over to you and to share. I don't know if Alexis, if you want to start first, and just share a bit about the background of why he's created the Wellbeing Umbrella and a bit about you, and then we'll go to Ursula again.
Yeah, so me and her, well, I was going to say we met probably I think around 2015, something around there. I think it was late on in 2015, but we really got to know each other probably more 2016. And it was around that time when we both just shared, our past experiences of what we'd experienced with we both reached out to the GPs prior, and we didn't really find much options. It was either we was prescribed, either you could go on like antidepressants, or for myself it was a waiting list for counselling, but I think at the time it was either 6 or 8 months. I can't remember. I know it was a long wait, but even back then I couldn't communicate very well, so the thought of me, even first of all going on a waiting list, and then I can't even remember how many sessions, we'll say it was 6 sessions. And I thought, oh no, I can't even speak to somebody. I couldn't even tell somebody what was going on because it was, trauma based. And I thought, I don't even want to go there. Back then, didn't want to talk about it. And I thought, no. But obviously it kept coming up that it needed, you need healing. And it was actually by fluke. I'd gone, I am into my tarot readers and things like that. And a lady, I'd gone for an angel card reading, and I'd had one previously with her. And whilst being there, and I think as well, she'd become part of the family because her daughter had married my cousin. So she was familiar to me. And so she was doing me this reading, and she was like, you really need Reiki. Never heard of Reiki. So I was like, what on earth is that? And she said, just let me give you just, 5 or 10 minutes. So there was that moment of like, oh, I don't know what you're doing. So, but because I trusted her, and obviously because I'd known her for a few years, I was like, okay then. And she just put her hands on my shoulders, and within like a couple of seconds, I could just feel like this energy going through my body. And all I can describe is if, imagine somebody really squeezing your heart. It was as if someone was squeezing it, but then releasing it. And so this went on probably only like 30 seconds, but I was like, what on earth is she doing to me? And then it just was like a ball going down my body. And by the time it got to my feet, I just burst out crying. But it was a good cry. And I remember even on the car on the way home, I was sobbing away. I got into my mum and dad. They thought something, had really happened. They were like, have you been in a car? And I was like, you don't understand. I feel amazing. I was like, I don't know what that lady's just done to me, but she's changed my life. And then I remember just all that day I was just on this absolute high. And I just remember feeling, God, if I could bottle this up, I could sell this for millions. Because I was like, this feeling is amazing. But then it was like, I want to help people to do, to feel that way. So then I trained in Reiki, and I did EFT as well, because that was another practice I felt drawn to, and again helped me personally. So those two things were major for myself. And then obviously me and Ursula had met on, it was like a how to grow your holistic business course, wasn't it? And I think it was either 6 or 8 weeks. And within that time, I decided, I can't remember what teaching with Dad, and again, I was out driving one day and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start running mind, body, spirit events. Just came in, and then I'd gone to our next session in our course, and I'd mentioned it, and Ursula and Lorraine, Ursula's mum, had said, "Oh, we'll come on it. We'll." So then that's how we'd stayed connected after the course, because they came on my very first event, and that's, I think, how that connection stayed, didn't it? Yeah. And then obviously we shared our stories then with each other, of, you know, where we was, and that the GP route didn't offer us any. It was basically this or that, but when we'd actually researched, and it was like, you know, because after the Reiki, I then jumped into anything. I was going on visualization coach, you know, crystals. Oh, what's that? Anything I saw, I was like, oh, I'll try that. I'll try. So I think I must have tried all sorts at the time. And even at me events, if there was a therapy I'd not heard of before, like access bars, never heard of that. There was like a crystal, there was kinetics, and so anything new, I was like, oh, go on, I'll jump on and try it. And there's nothing that I've tried that I didn't feel helped in some way. Obviously, there's some that I felt more connected to and had a bigger impact, but everything I tried, there's nothing that I've said, no, I didn't feel anything. There was something on some level that I had. So that was, obviously, like I said, then we met and discussed, you know, and
Wellbeing Umbrella
came about.
So this is where then the Wellbeing Umbrella. So Ursula, so we'll talk about the Wellbeing Umbrella. So let me maybe then go back to your story. How then, you know, how you got to where the point where Alexis.
As in meeting Alexis.
Well, not even your own journey, so a bit of your own journey,
that's fine. Probably very much similar to Alexis, as in trying to search for support. But mine came about was, well, to be fair, mine started as soon as I came into the world, I'm pretty sure. But that sort of sense of feeling inadequate, not feeling worthy, not feeling capable type thing, and then masking those things as you do in the world, going on as best you can. And then I got into nursing, had my children and everything, and then that mask started to slip. Couldn't keep the mask on that looked like I was doing really, really okay in the world. It slipped, hit a wall, as they say, not literally, but metaphysically, and just hit the wall and had what is termed a nervous breakdown. Went for support at the doctors, like Alexis did. Similar to you, I was offered medication, and I was offered counselling, but there was an 8-month waiting list for that. So because I wanted to keep that mask up that looked like I was doing absolutely great, do you know what I mean, and could cope, I went for the medication. I thought, that means I can continue working, these worries about not getting paid and stuff like that, and keeping up appearances around everybody else, because you don't want people to know that you can't cope. So continued, took the medication, and then had a reaction to it. It's classed as, I think it's I can't remember what the term is now, but basically psychosis, drug-induced psychosis is what I experienced. So as soon as that happened, there was no, your mask just falls, you can't keep it up any longer. I would be considered delusional at that point. So had time off, but then the thing for me was that I was too scared. I couldn't take any more medication. I was too scared that it was offered, but there was no way that I was going to go there, because the medication with the drug-induced psychosis, it got me close to death. I had thoughts and stuff, and I was like, there was no way I was going there. I had young children too. I definitely didn't want them to see me like that any further, and clearly what I put my own family through at that point. So the only option was the 8-month waiting list. I think I had 7 months left of that waiting list. So similar to Alexis, I was like, God, there's just got to be another way. Surely they're just in these two solutions. Do you know what I mean? Type thing. And did start to look. support. But yeah, then fell into what I call the whole of Google. I mean, blooming out, how do you know what to put when you don't know what's bloody out there? Excuse me language. But if you don't know what's out there, how the hell do you know what to put into Google to go find what you need? And I remember getting somewhat frustrated, but knowing things yourself, there's got to be other, do you know what I mean? And there was that sense that is this it? Is this my life? Am I not, am I never going to be fixed? And just a sense of, no, I need to get back to it. So that sort of perseverance of trying to find things. And I did come across Reiki. I came across lots of hypnotherapy, all sorts, do you know what I mean? Type thing. But I remember at the time thinking, why the heck have I not been offered these options? Do you know what I mean? I wasn't even signposted to them. I mean, it was literally, no, you've only got an 8 months waiting list. And I'm like, that's it, go home. And it's just like, right, okay, I was at my wit's end. And then, and there was that sense of why has nobody posted me to it? And much like Alexis, I tried blooming everything. But yeah, Reiki, coaching, counselling came further down the road of me, road to recovery. I were on courses, and that sort of self-inquiry and try to get to the bottom of why I'd actually got to the place that I had done, and then sort of, that is that healing, isn't it? And then not willing to put the mask back on again, type thing. But yeah, and then because I enjoyed my in particular the coaching, the self-inquiry for myself, it really did me well. I then went on and thought, you know what, I'll watch Carla. It's one of those things, isn't it? You help other people out and people go, oh, do you know what, it's really good, is that? Right, coaching, I'll do coaching type thing, so that's how I started, as in business, and it was stress and resilience coaching that I was doing. Hence, as then meeting at the it was Lynn's, wasn't it? Meadowcroft's course, which was brilliant. Well, not her course, but she was hosting it for another person to come in, and then we met obviously there, which was brilliant. And then obviously shared her stories and that frustration of and then when she says she was doing MB&S events. One, I was petrified because she was like, do you want to do a speaker event? Yeah, sounds great, but I don't know if I want to do it. I did, but the courage and did it, and you did it too, didn't you? Put yourself out there. And then, but I remember saying to you, because you'd been doing them for a year, and I said, I absolutely love your Mind Bodies, but I love what you're doing. I love that you're getting it out there, and obviously, because my own experience, that more people can know about what other options are out there. I love it. I says, but the only thing is, I said, don't take it as an offence or anything like that. So the only thing is, I said, it's what you call it, it's just sort of holistic. I said, and the difficulty I felt with my partner at that point, he wasn't really into what he'd see as woo-woo. Do you know what I mean? I said, I just feel like it needs to be open, that anything needs to be there, and there's no sort of, that's that segment and that's that, and I want it. I said, if it could be open for everybody, I says, then anybody could come along. I could come with my partner, and then yes, there might be Reiki over there, but you might have physio over here. Do you know what I mean? There was that sense.
Totally.
And that's when you went, over to you, Alexis, what did you say?
So prior to this, for about 2 years prior, I worked at a hotel on reception. Well, I still do part-time even to this day, because I do enjoy online stuff, but also people person. So I used to always be sat there, and I'd have, like booking.com and late rooms. And then I kept visioning like a wellness platform but everybody together. But even the thought, because back then, and Ursula will know, she's very kindly helped me, I could send an email and I could log on to Facebook. That was probably my technical thing, like to a T. So the thought of this website, and I was like, what's this? Like, but when you feel like you're part of it, and I thought, so I kept, no, like couldn't understand it, why it kept coming, every so often. And then I thought, right, this keeps coming. So then I was like, right, back then, talk to angels daily. So I was like, right, angels, you need to bring me somebody that can even help me with this, because I'm telling you right now, I can't. And then when Ursula sent that message, I remember just getting all goosebumps all over my body. And I remember reading it, and it was just like, I need to let this, because we didn't really know each other. We'd met, like you said, we were on a table, and And we didn't know each other very well at that point, but I just had this sense I really need to let her know what's been coming. And then we had a little meeting in Littleborough, which was halfway between us both. And yeah, I always remember you saying, "Oh, I'll help you do it, but it's yours." And I just remember clinging on to Ron, saying, "No." I was like, "No, I really need you." I'm telling you now, I can't do this.
Oh, wow, that's a brilliant story. And do you know I like just the way your whole concepts came. Interesting, that's how I started. That's one of the concepts when I first started my business. I started a directory and a health information service. So when I first started my business in 2022, it was the same reason what you are talking about. Right. So that was what motivated me, because I had so much complex and rare conditions. I was just told there was nothing, or I had medical harm as well. And I found it so hard. Well, I was able to access information, but I knew that most people did not. Like, I was forced to use to find things. But I also understood that there was a whole world out there that people didn't understand and see. And then, as you talked about, Ursula, also, but there were some people that wouldn't to be too much into there would be so that health. And I realized for me, I had to have the whole, because of the complexity issues. I needed the stress management side. I needed things like body work. I needed nutrition. So I had to go down a route where it was so widespread that I was coming in with a wider perspective. And I also recognised at the time that most people weren't ready for some things. And I wanted to work in teaching, education and things like that. So what happened was I knew that some of the woo-woo they weren't ready for.
Yeah.
So that some people, by taking them into certain things, that are more palatable.
Yes, it's just an inroad.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the inroads, but one of the things that really did thing with me was the shocking thing about how many people, and I met so many people who were left. And I was left, and I was a lot of psychological even abuse for the mainstream, like where you were left with more harm. So you were in a situation you had to fend for yourself, and you can wait. You can also think, what I like about a lot of the concepts that I know you talk about is no one size fits all. And I think that is such an important thing, because one of the things in a lot of work where people can be very passionate about what they do, but they're trying to sell it for everything. And we're actually taught that sometimes in healing therapies, where everybody is individual. And I do believe that there should be a wide range of options for people for so many reasons. And that's what I love about what you do, because it means it's comfortable for people. But everybody's challenges come in all shapes and sizes with different complexities too as well. And I think that that's one of the biggest things, having, been able to give people and taste things, and do that. So tell me a little bit more about, your events, and then obviously you can tell them a wee bit about the platform. So you can both tell us a wee bit, whatever feels right.
Yeah, I could say, which one do you want to go with, Alexis?
Shall I go with the events maybe? So
makes sense. You're one that runs them. I do the back. So you're the face of it, aren't you?
Yeah. So we run, obviously. I think we've done maybe 6 at the moment, and we're just going to be putting another 5 or 6. Yeah. So we're just going to be putting another few out now. So obviously that's again just to increase the awareness of all the different therapies and treatments and options that are out there. Sorry, I'm just gone.
Well, no, it's all right. It's based on topic, though, isn't it? Because that's the issue for us, isn't it? That if so, for me, when I was looking for something to do with stress and stress and anxiety at that time, putting a word into Google, you get NHS telling you, you're like, yeah, well, I know that, I'm experiencing that, I need to know how to help myself, and that's how the topic around the wellness events came about. Wanted that we'd have the topic, say the what would be considered the ailment or the challenge, and then therapies that could help with that, wouldn't we? So you've done a few. I don't know if you want to mention some of those.
Yeah, so we've done like stress and anxiety, we've done menopause, we've done sleep, insomnia. We've obviously done stress and anxiety. That was one. Even like your desires, wasn't it? And what can, you know, block things. Get in your way, because we've definitely experienced, you know, self-doubt and things like that. And like I said, those blocks of letting things come into your life because you've got a belief. So we've, I'm trying to think of other ones. Yeah, like self-care. Self-care.
Then two that we've got coming up.
Yes, we've got pain management coming up, and we're doing self-esteem. So they'll be coming up in the next couple of months.
Yeah, so we'll be looking for new speakers.
Yes.
Well, not new.
And these are the key. I mean, these are all real big pillars that are often at the core of many, many issues, and are the most common challenges that come up in people's lives. And also the things that, when there's other things going on, can have a knock-on effect, like when you think your sleep and your pain and self-esteem, self-care. But I think one of the things, you know, most of us recognise that we're not taught from childhood to put our health first. Particularly in the Western world, we're not. And so many of us, you know, it's almost like it's last in the list. And I think for, you know, and I'm not just isolating the women, but for particularly a lot of women who tend to take on more caring roles within the family, or they tend to often overextend themselves as well. And I think that's why we attract a lot of women, where they tend to, the self-care things, for example, is a big thing. And even though it's become a popular subject, it's still something we're still only cracking the surface with, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately so. Definitely for myself, and you can think you've cracked it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
and then there's another layer.
Yeah,
like,
comes up again. I've got to deal with this. It's here again.
Exactly. It's so important for people to understand that, because none of us get it perfect. I mean, I've been studying in this field for 30 years, and we're still, you know, we all have our vulnerabilities. And one of the things that I talk about is also people's, because I work with archetypes, is people's person at the core of their traits. So some people are naturally the caregiver, and lots of therapists are, and healers. So they tend to sometimes be more prone to burnout because that's part of their traits and their gifts. And then it's also sometimes, you know, we've got different archetypes who take leadership roles, and they're great leaders and whatever, but they, you know, but again, they're pushing themselves. So
that'd be me, yeah. But caregiver and the burnout.
So, you know, this is where, so, you know, you have a purpose within that, but it's the elements. So there's so many things.
There is.
So Ursula, what do you think is the key, the common thing with most things that you see with you know, the main challenges for most people today?
In general, is, I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, but I just think I see it as the mask. We're all pretending and try to keep up appearances, not as in trying to keep up with Mr. and Mrs. Jones type thing, but that sense of not actually being who we truly are is what I mean, and try to keep that mask up. So that sense of when you are actually tired, or, you know, say you are looking after somebody, you might have a family, you know, and you're caring for them, and actually you are tired, and actually you just want some time out, but you don't do that because you feel guilty. And it's those type of masks, I would say, that get, I call them a mask, but blocks, call them what you want, that get in the way. And just that, I think you said it, it's that self-care. It's being aware and actually listening to yourself, what you do want. We ignore it a lot, and then but I am coming from my own experience. I can't speak on behalf of other people, but generally in my of what I see in the view, it is generally that, that a lot of the thing, even health wise, it's usually because we've not been listening to ourselves and just sort of pushing forward with things. Even I'm just thinking around a lot of the things to do with my own past, you know, have impacted. I mean, you know, being 20, not that long ago. But so the few years, and then looking back and then seeing that actually things from you know, when I was a child are still these little, you know, quirks or these programs, call them what you will, are still running me, and you're like, what? That's like what a child would, that's childish behaviour, you know, try to keep myself safe in some shape or form, and not actually listening to what I do want. And then and then obviously because I'm listening to the child and running off of fear, as a result I hit the wall or don't listen to myself, and then burnout type thing. But I sort of come from my own perspective, I suppose, but generally I would say that is, I would say, like most people, I'm a reflection of everybody. I am not on my own. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And there's so many layers to all this, isn't it? You think you have sometimes resolved something, and then another layer comes, or you see it from a different angle. And I think also, this is my perception, but like if you look at mainstream media and society, there's so much pressure, and there's a distorted perception of perfection, where there is just so many things that I think, I'm 53, and I'm glad that in some ways that there's some things. I look at younger people, and there wasn't as much media perfection and all the kind of things that you know, to the degree see now. But I know even when I started doing, like, I done a lot of counselling and things like that. Was one of my work that I'd done, and one of the things that I found, even though you see it in your own life, but I've seen it to quite a high degree, was younger people, and particularly maybe young mums, and they're saying, no, my children have to look perfect, my house has to be perfect, have to be, but the pressure, the unbelievable pressure and expectations they were putting on themselves, but they felt also society. And you know, I think there is so many facets of society where that's became more embedded. It's like, I wish that illusion would start on the bigger stage, you know, the bigger, where when you think about celebrity states and things, where there's this kind of also very strange, I don't know, it's just that, and it's all about the masks, Ursula, that you're talking about, but it's a different, you know, there's obviously different types of masks there, and I think that can have a big impact on people.
For sure, but not to forget that, you don't have to follow the mass. There is that, not the mask, exactly. The mass, there is that, but it's that empowering yourself so that you're not fearful if you don't start, but you know, if you don't follow everybody, and if you do start, you know, and I think it is that empowerment within yourself, that you don't have to follow other people, and you don't have to,
that's what
you know, your house doesn't have to be perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah, do you know
and it's follow your own. It's not about,
you don't need the best car. That doesn't mean that you're inferior if you don't have that car. It doesn't mean that you're not doing well. And is that, like you said, that a lot of it is in his mind. Because most people are what you're thinking are thinking the same, so just be different and don't worry.
Oh, definitely. And it's about being unique, and also that's what you are doing, is helping people be able to sort out what feels unique and right for them, isn't it? Because it's finding your own path and your roadway to your own health as well.
Yeah, very much so. And that's what the Wellbeing Umbrella site does. So as in itself, so that if you did come to the site, so there's you'd put say a word in. I'm going to use the word stress or anxiety, because that seems to be something that I have used as fuel for a while, now putting it down, but and you put the word in, and then so a bit like when the experience that I had on Google, it's far better, because when you put it into the site, it actually brings up solutions for you. It brings up, if there's any blogs that have helped you, it will bring that up that people have wrote on the site, and it'll bring up options from wellness providers that are on the site. So I know you definitely come up onto that, Eileen. I know that you've got your meditations on there. You've got your classes on there, and when we put stress on or anxiety, yours definitely come up for that. But there's all sorts that come up, yoga classes, but whatever is relevant for that topic of stress. So if you put self-esteem up, whoever has anything that will be of benefit and could be helpful under that title, you can put that in. It'll come up. If you've got hip pain, I mean, I don't know if that's specific, but the pain, somebody will come up regarding that. It's absolutely fabulous on And that also you're able to reduce it to do with your, not everybody, one of the things that we work on is around not everybody can afford things. So we'll talk later about as the charity that we're also creating, but there is ability for price range and all. So, if your budget's on a small amount, you'll be able to minimize it down. But it's absolutely fabulous. And the people that are on the site are wellness providers. And what I absolutely love the most is that the people that are on the site is that they've walked in your shoes. So generally when you're going to see somebody, so say if somebody shows you, you've been there, Eileen, you understand stress, you understand anxiety, you've walked 10 miles ahead of the person that you come into, come into support. And that's what I absolutely love about the individuals on the site, because they're doing what they're doing because they want to make a difference. They don't want somebody to have to go through in some cases, the trauma, the pain that they did. And in particular, that is what I really like. That I don't know, I just love it because it's just.
Oh, I think, and most of the people, the people you've got on your site too, they're all very heart-based. They're all in it for the right reasons. They're very passionate about what they do, and it is like a community, and that makes a big difference. And what I like about the way that you've done it, because I've always suggested to people to go to, it's about choosing the right directors, but it's going to directors, because sometimes one of the biggest problems is when people look up, as you say, Google, they look at and they're so confused, and they can be overwhelmed also, like on Facebook and social media. Whereas they go to a directory like what you're talking about, and they have choice then, but it's maybe not in an overwhelming way, because a director tends to make it an easy categorization. Where sometimes when people go through like social media, it's just posts that come up, or even with pages, it can be very confusing and not clear to see things quickly. But the people can find the information quickly. So from anyone who was thinking about, signing up for the Wellbeing Umbrella and advertising with these, what you've got to think is, for the consumer, it's very easy for the consumer to use. And something that's easier for the consumer to get the information and see the information quickly, like the information that's important to them, makes a better conversion and a better sale. And you've got that right. I mean, you have thought so many things on the platform. That's one of the things. Now, I have to hold up my head high, and I've said this. No. I've not been updating, and I didn't do some certain things, like just to do with time. And I think I said that to you, I've not maximised with what you have done. But it is a great platform, and I really, really admired the work that you've put in it, because I know I've had I had 3 different platforms at different times, and they require a lot of work. So these ladies have made a lot of sacrifices to put this up. It's an amazing platform. And it's a great opportunity for you to showcase what you do, because there is so many, my audience, who are, who are often holistic, services and products, and they have a problem often getting out there, and they often don't have big marketing budgets. And it's getting out in front of enough audience, but also it's not just enough, it's the right audience, and that's the key as well.
Yeah. No, completely agree with you on that one. I'm going to say, I feel like I'm taking over, Alexis. This is what happens.
No, Ursula, no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I agree with you, and that is what Wellbeing is about. It's about the collective marketing. Is Wellbeing Umbrella, that you're coming together on one site. Also, as in because we've changed it now, so it's pay as you go. Not pay as you go. What's it? Pay as you feel type.
Yeah,
thing.
pay as you feel, like pay what you can afford, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that marketing, it goes towards the marketing budget of it. So it's on the site, but as events also help to bring people to the site. The blogs that we're doing that people can be involved in too. Collaborative is another way that brings people to the site. For me, I just think it's absolutely fabulous. But obviously, I would say that. But I'm coming as in from the customer, as in I would have loved this, prior coming from that sense. But as in that try to get out there. Coming back to the business side of it, it is hard. We've experienced it itself when we worked in his own businesses of marketing. You did your Reiki business, didn't you, Alexis? Mine was coaching, and that way you're running, gosh, yeah, try to do your social media page, then try to watch all your social media, then doing all these events, then doing this, then doing that. And then actually what's great for it is the collaboration, where it is the fact that of coming together. So it's not just one person, you're not just out there, but there's more of you, and you're all speaking up together about the same issue, that we want to go out there and want to help you to you know, to either get better outcomes, I'll say, to do with wellbeing. Everybody's different, be it overcome an ailment or managing it, whatever. But the idea is in the what I love about the marketing is that you've just, I don't know, it's like you're all coming together. So you've got that one post, say, so about say the event, and you've got a whole host of other therapists that are going out there and putting you out there. The same for a blog. If we're doing a collaborative blog, you've not just got that, you're just one post going out. You've got the support of Wellbeing Umbrella, but you've also got the support of other people collaborating in that event or that blog, showcasing you. And it's not just that once. It's a few. It's more because we're all working together. It's the same with there's events, isn't it? It works that way around collaboration, and we're all for people collaborating, because there is the essence of getting out there and marketing, but there's also the supportive part, that if you've got somebody else, I mean, we're fortunate, me and Alexis have got each other now, but we remember working solo. It's blooming hard. If you, especially if you don't know, if you know, you don't know something, who do you go ask?
Oh, I know. When I first started, had been bed and housebound for 7 years, and it was so hard for me because there was nobody else to help me, and there was very few people doing holistic or like doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I found it really hard. And then advertising was so expensive. You didn't have free social media. You had nothing free. You got nothing free then.
No.
And I did find it hard. And one of the things that I love about is the community. I've been a big driver for that. I've not always had the big uptake right enough, but I think the way that you've designed it in a way that really encourages that community. And I really think that even in 2023, with everything that's been going on for a variety of reasons, I think that the community is going to be so important for us moving forward, even for society. To change. So what you are offering, it's like you're a wee bit ahead of the curve. You were just doing it from heart-based, how you work. I think that is the way that we all should be working forward. And it does help people's increases their reach, because when you work together, you grow together.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's more strong, as you said, you're more empowered, and everybody is in a stronger position. And also the fact that even with the way you have done the blogs with the different people, I think that's a great thing, because sometimes it depends on how you're teaching something and how you're getting a message across. Everybody hears something different in a different way. So the way that and something will be palatable, but it might not be palatable. So you're giving people different options. But I do think the fact and then sharing, because also a lot of us are seeing really lower reach in social media platforms. I know I've been shadow banned a few times, and they actually, and in the world of health, they told me that my reach was going right down because certain things were, they said it was inaccurate and factual information. It was medical research papers about holistic medicine. So they said if it happened 3 times, and then I thought really what I'd been sharing was fine. And they said that now I had a permanent lower reach on my winning pages. And I think one of the things that I know for anybody that's listening, one of the things I've been advocating recently is that I don't think people should be relying on social media completely for their business. And you give people that don't have a commercial like a commercial site an opportunity to sell and get their stuff in a way. So you solve a lot of problems for a lot of issues that are coming up for many people in the wellbeing sector at the moment.
Yeah, because I know even for myself, I've seen quite a few people. I mean, I must admit, I don't go on Facebook, a lot, but the occasional time that I do, obviously I go on for work, but other than that, I don't go on personally. But I have seen quite a few people, you know, just saying that the page has disappeared and gone down, and even on Instagram that the page is just gone.
Yeah,
But that was
or
their
LinkedIn's lots of
only,
spiritual
that was their
businesses.
only. They didn't have a website, so they relied on that, you know, those followers. So like say, even a platform, you know, having an alternative to social media, you know, because a lot of people, especially I'm thinking of myself when I worked alone with the Reiki and setting up, you know, a website, it was frightening, and it was like, oh, I have no idea what to do. So that's why a lot of people just do a Facebook page, because it's easy.
Yeah.
Where something like our platform as well, it's as easy as Facebook, but you're not designing your own, you know, website.
Oh,
but
and
you've still got an
exactly.
alternative to, you know, to social media as well. But yeah, I've definitely seen that over in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 months, quite a few people where they've just said my page has disappeared. I think even one was a group and it just went.
Oh, lots of
And
groups
so,
have.
and they'd had, you know, say a couple of thousand followers, and they were saying they'd have to start it all again. So yeah, I've definitely seen a few of those.
I mean, I know people that have had like 50, 40,000 followers and have lost 3 or 4 pages constantly. And there's lots of things going on. And I think this is where you are given something else that, and also for people that don't have a lot of time and that they're having to try and get themselves off the ground, but they don't have the money for certain things. These are offering a way for them to reach, you know, a wider audience. You've got this thing that you've got a way that you've been able to put it forward that people just don't have the budget to create something like that themselves, or they maybe don't have the time, you know, for the techie things. I mean, I have my own platform and like all the kind of things, so I'm lucky I have that advantage. But there's can be a lot of work behind doing that if you're doing it yourself. We'd use have got it just for it to fill it in, you know, and I think it's fantastic.
No, how can I say, you definitely appreciate it. You could see the benefit yourself, couldn't you, Alexis, about like you said, you didn't have that experience. I could put my stuff together, you know, websites and stuff like that. So to me it was like,
but I was like, don't.
But yeah, you can see, you can definitely see the benefit. But yeah, and there is we've got the website, but we've also got his email list that is ever growing with the events, because obviously that website,
fantastic.
just when you were talking about the social media, we do social media, but a lot is through email is for us. I mean, it's just growing the events, and obviously when people come to the to his websites through the free events, it's growing. We're very fortunate, it would appear.
What's like? No, I know you're going to share a bit about your charity, but what about if anybody's interested in learning how, you know, if they wanted to check out the Wellbeing Umbrella? Okay, so
so we're www.wellbeingumbrella.co.uk, and it'd be on the Sell With Us page, and like I said, there's information on there. And
if you scroll right down to the bottom, because generally it's for the public, we're keen to first. I mean, there is a part in there where it pops out and it says, if you're solo professional, you know, click here type thing. But if you scroll right down to the bottom where the I call it the footnote, but it's not called that. Thank you, footer. Not footnote, not a book, Ursula. And there's a section that's Wellbeing Business, and it has the Wellbeing Business blog. It has about collaboration. It does have the, you know, Sell With Us page if you want, but it also has about collaboration too. So if say you're like, well, I don't know what if I want to, you know, if I want to join you, do the collaboration, join that way, do blogs, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll anything to do with Wellbeing Business is there.
Fabulous. Oh, that's fabulous. So what about this? You know, I know that you've got another project on the set a go.
Yeah, do you want to go, or do you want me to?
Yeah, so well, obviously we've mentioned our events. So with the events, we've also so for the events, it's not only, you know, to help increase the well-being, but it's all sorry, my mind's just gone blank, because we're basically.
Listen, my brain goes blank all the time. So don't worry about it. And my viewers know that.
So Blessings Trust is to help, you know, people experiencing hardship, you know, including poverty, exclusion, and also
You're going to ask me now what that third one is, aren't you? Alexis, that's not fair. Can't remember. No, but it is that. It's around the hardship,
well, it's just like we said,
violence.
And violence, and it's it could be the free support or subsidised wellness support. So that's what we're working on at the moment. But apologies, my mind just completely.
No, you're all right. It's no, it's fine. It's because the events currently we was raising money for Women's Aid, but which is great, but it was only a specific area of the country. Right, okay. So we were just like this, we're getting money from around the world at this rate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, the Wellbeing Umbrella is for the UK. But we're fortunate. It seems that money and donations can come from around the world, but in general, it's a lot of the UK. And we're like, the money's just specifically going there. So then we were like, right, let's create the charity, which is Blessings Trust. So now the money's going to be going to that, and then, but the great thing is about the Blessings Trust, and to be fair with the Women's Aid, is the money gets spent on the people that are on the site. So it's sort of a turnaround, because the idea of Blessing Trust is for those individuals that can't. I'm quite fortunate that I can go buy some wellbeing resort, solution if I needed it financially. I'm not in what I was, say, years ago, where I needed, some subsidisation or anything like that, but not everybody's still look at. And those individuals that were in maybe the same situation as us, where, you've only got two choices, but they want more, but they can't afford it because of the circumstances. It allows, we're giving them an opportunity. One, to see that there's lots of other options, and two, to help subsidise. Where we can, we'll try do 3, but generally it'll be subsidised. So that's what the money goes towards, but it's for the practitioners who are on the site that'll be able to help with that. So it's sort of a come round, if you know what I mean.
And that's a great way to do it. That's great. No, that's fantastic. I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing. I think, and these are a lovely women, and your heart's in the right place, and it's great.
Kids don't always say that.
You've got a lovely energy about you, and that makes a big difference, and it also inspires other people to set up things like this when we see, but this is fantastic. Yeah. Is there anything that you anything else you would like to share, or, I would like to tell the audience, this is your opportunity?
No. Apart from maybe just coming on as, if you're interested, coming on our mailing list, one, so that you can be kept up to date about collaborations, but also that we're putting together a summit, a Wellbeing Business Summit, but it's around. And because we were talking about it a little bit before, Eileen, and we're like, you'd be great for it. And it's around collaboration, because we absolutely love that you can support each other. So, that not just on our site, but, forget us, just collaborate yourselves and get out there more and help more people know what's on offer. Yeah. But so it's going to be around that. But what we also recognise is that, collaboration is great, but if you've got blocks or something that's getting in your way from it being able to do that, to get out there and actually speak, online, because we put his hands up, Alexis, we were absolutely, speaking, doing this today is like, well done, Ursula, well done, Alexis, this video. But, sometimes that comes and gets in the way. You don't think you're good enough, or, you think somebody's, further on than what you are, type thing, or whatever gets in your way. That's what the summit's about, getting those blocks out of the way, so that you can go out there and you can reach more people. Because, as we know, if you don't get out there and help people, you can't help people. You sort of know that, but the blocks get in the way, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And we know that generally, when the thing is, I don't know if you find, but you come into especially in the wellbeing business, you come in because you want to make a difference, or you want to help people, but you don't realise that you have to do all this marketing stuff. What do you mean I have to do all this marketing stuff and get myself out there and stuff like that? I just want to help people. Do you know what I mean, type thing? And
that's the biggest thing that I see. That's how I started the Spiritual Marketing Club in the holistic business, because I was lucky. I came from a family business background. Now, don't get me wrong, it might be a lot of people assume that I'm very busy. I am not. That's not my natural alignment in one way, because I'm a heart. I mean, in all testing, it always says I shouldn't have a business. I'm too altruistic, right? All psychological testing I've ever done has actually said never have a business because you'll give everything away.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. So I had to really work hard at that. I really did, right? And I still have to work because I tend want to. But one of the things I understood coming from a family business background was how much business, and there was the business and marketing aspect had to come. It was important.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many. One of the things that I noticed in my journey was I got some harm with the holistic. I did get some harm, and I met some situations where people were absolutely amazing, and they were not being seen. Some of the most greatest people that helped me the greatest, and had dedicated their life, and they were almost penniless.
Yeah.
And then people, I don't mean it, they could do a good talk.
Yeah, gives you the gab.
But lacking substance. I'm like, look, we're doing really financially well, but these people who were incredible people who sacrificed so much to help others, and they were struggling in their business.
Yeah.
And I was quite techie. So I've always been techie, and that's why people asked for help, and it ended up in business market help. So, and one of the biggest things that I see even in the spiritual community, as well as the holistic, is that people they think when they're coming in, because they're passionate and heart-based, that sometimes they just think it's all just going to happen at a drop of a hat. And then they get a bit of a shock when they come in and think, oh my God, you have to do this, you have to do that. Oh no, I didn't think that. I thought I could just set up and the money would come in. And one of the things I've noticed in the spiritual, like when I first started, doing the first thing was Reiki for me, and that was over 30 years ago. I was the weirdo in the room. Now it's quite fashionable. And I don't mean it, and I think sometimes there's an uncomfortable fashionable. It's like sometimes it's the in thing. There's some things, right?
Right, yeah.
But there's so much choice for people that it's sometimes the consumer also can be very overwhelmed. And I think that's also why people need to be able to market clearly, because for the consumer, it's all these choices. So how do they choose what's exactly right for them? And I know that most people do struggle in the holistic and spiritual field because they're so heart-led. They just want to be doing what they feel they're guided to do.
Yeah.
And you have blocks about that. And that's where you're offering another service that really helps that. It's filling a gap.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Well, one, that's been us all over, isn't it? Like, we talk about, walking up the walk. Bloody hell, yeah, we've done that. Yeah, what do you mean? We have to go out there and talk to people,
Well, you'll know yourself, Arlene. I think you asked us about a year ago. It's like,
yeah, but and having to work on those blocks, and when you have a look at, and when you get those out of the way, it's almost silliness. It's not almost something, it is silliness. And and then you can collaborate more with people. And that sort of, where it feels like you're working hard to get there. You're only it's working hard rather to get there, or it feels like that, is because you're actually working against yourself. That's the only way it felt like, do you know what I mean? So, but once you get them out, you're just like, oh, right, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, great, yeah, fine. And then, it doesn't actually feel like an effort. It feels
natural, organic. And that's what we want, don't we? We want it, because this is the whole point. We're teaching other people to have a more natural, organic life. So you want to teach them that even for their business as well. And I think it's fantastic.
And not doing stuff just because somebody says so. You know what I mean? Just because a marketeer says you should do this, and you're like, no. But once you've got your blocks out of the way, so no, that feels right, I'll do that. And it flourishes. It's far better than what you expected. Not all this, I am all for numbers, obviously, when I appreciate you have to pay for it. But if you don't have that as you go, and you just have the gut of, do you know what, that feels right, I'm going to do that, it always works out well, just for me.
Exactly anyway. How I feel, because I think it's all about, to me, it's all, I call it soul alignment, being really aligned with what feels right. So your ethics, your core values, and when you're guided, because if you don't, it's just by going by someone else's rules and external perspectives, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
giving you power over also to somebody else's ideas.
Yeah, it's just being mindful that you're saying no for that reason, because it's not because you're fearful of doing something. It's getting that.
I'm cool. That's you've got a big point. Yeah, exactly.
Because there is that, because you can concede yourself. Well,
I'm not doing that.
yeah, I'm doing what the marketeer says. When you know that, it's going to be helpful to get yourself out there, and if that's actually blocking you, if you know, it's one of those, if you know that you can get out there and that's the best way for you, but you're fearful, then you have to do something about it. But hey ho, speaking from experience.
Alexis, have you got anything that you would like to add before we end this lovely chat?
Don't think so, no, nothing.
No, just to watch the events, that you've got coming up, because so people, I don't know when this is going out, but if they are interested to get on.
I'm just trying to think of how to get on. Are they best to email to give the hello?
Oh, you're joking! You'll have a right.
I'll put the details underneath. I'll go on YouTube.
So if I can give you the...
And then I'll give you this video you can share as well. But what I'll do is I'll put the details down. But if there's anything specifically you want, I might even be able to put a wee graphic in the end of this with specific details. Depends if the edit takes the way of the video. But so have you got some new events coming up quite soon, Alexis?
Yes, in the next month or two, we're going to be having.
That's fine. We should be going out quite soon then. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. So we've got pain management, and then we've got the one on self-esteem. But they'll be pretty much within a month or so of each other. So
so if you're on his email list, you'll get information about it, won't you? And then if people are interested, they can register their interest.
Yeah, so I think for everyone, if you sign up for the email list, that's the best way, because you'll be able to get access to the information about what all the events they're doing, about collaboration. You're going to access all the information. I think that's the best way for people to do.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. It's been great. It's been great to have you on.
Yeah.
It's been lovely. Thank you.
You've done really well. Well, thank you, ladies, and we'll need to have you on, maybe talking about something else another time. But thank you.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Yeah, enjoyed.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye.
Bye.